It is unthinkable that such horrors should be repeated.
Welcome back to my channel, and this is going to be a really nice, lovely video to celebrate Horror Mayhem. So, Horror Mayhem. You're going to see a few videos pop up now about Horror Mayhem. I've already seen Michael K. Vaughan's one, which kind of ushers in permission to do the Horror Mayhem videos. It's an event that was started, I think, last year by the Bookish Bryants, Scott and Becky, and they've gone off YouTube for a little while. If they're seeing this, just sending you my love. I'm hoping that everything is cool, but we do miss you. They've been off YouTube for a while, but they're really good at creating book events, and they created one of the many book events they created was the Horror Mayhem event, and I read some awesome books last year on that, and definitely looking forward to doing it this year. So last year there were 4 prompts. So the idea was each week in May you would read a horror story or a short book based around the prompts. So there was like the supernatural, there was urban horror, there were things like that. And basically this time, because Scott and Becky aren't around, there's no rules. There are a few hosts still, so I know that you're going to see announcement videos from Michael K. Vaughan, Steve Donahue, Greg from Other Bibliophile Reads, Ollie from Criminolly, a few others. So there are hosts, but the main hosts, if you like, are not doing it this year. So Horror Mayhem is a chance to celebrate horror, but there's no prompts. So it's complete sort of, you're free to read whatever you like, but if you want to read some horror stuff, then, you know, hashtag Horror Mayhem, we can all join in on the fun. So the principle behind it was also kind of trying to favour short fiction, and it was quite an interesting one for horror because there's a lot of short stories out there, and I would probably go towards novels if it wasn't for an event like this. So it was quite nice to kind of think about short stories, and I've got some interesting possibilities here. So I'm going to talk about what I'm going to read, certainly what I'm definitely going to read and what I'm going to aim to read in May. So there's quite a lot of books I can choose from, but I thought if I do this, it also might give you some ideas yourself if you do want to get involved. So even though there's no prompts, there's clearly thousands of books out there you could read. So first off, my Ray Bradbury deep dive has now got to the point where I'm about to go into his horror fantasy kind of stuff, and actually chronologically the next thing I need to look at is Dark Carnival, and most of Dark Carnival is in here. So Dark Carnival itself is incredibly expensive. It's like a very rare book. It's been out of print for many years, so to get it as Dark Carnival would be crazy expensive. But most of the stories are in here, and I'm hoping the rest of Dark Carnival is in the big Everyman book I've got of his short stories. But either way, the October Country I will be reading again in May. So it has got some fantastic stories in it, so I definitely can't wait to get back into that. And I will be doing, probably in May, you'll probably see my first kind of detailed video, as in about specific books on the Ray Bradbury thing. So I've done a video already announcing it, but I'll be doing something on those first 2 books I read. But this is the October Country, which absolutely fits with Horror Mayhem, which is really cool. So that's going to be read in May for definite. The next book on my Ray Bradbury thing. I'm using this opportunity at this event, my Horror Mayhem, to read a book by a local author. So Alan Elliott is, I think it is self-produced, self-published, like my stuff. And this is a horror anthology called Home Sweet Home. Very awesome cover. And it's quite short as well, but these are short stories. And I'm really looking forward to this. And it'd be nice to highlight and celebrate a local author. So I met this guy when we did a day where we were all trying to sell our books in town, and I met a few others as well. But he sold some of his, we bought each other's books, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, it sounds really interesting. So it'd be nice to read this and talk about it on the channel. So Home Sweet Home, a horror anthology by Alan Elliott. And I'll link anything I can to help him out once I've done that those wrap-up videos for Horror Mayhem. So that's Home Sweet Home, a local author. And then I haven't finished this yet. So this is actually something I started last Horror Mayhem. So I'm going to finish 4 Past Midnight by Stephen King. So Stephen King, obviously a big name in horror for all the right reasons. I think he's great. And I've read many, many, many books by him. But I haven't finished this one yet. So I'm definitely going to read The Langoliers in here. And if I read The Langoliers and... what's it called? Secret Window, Secret Garden, then I would have read the book. So, but I'm definitely going to read The Langoliers. Again, it's about short fiction, preferably. I'd like to read some more Kafka. So, I think I've read everything in here, but I'm going to double check and reread something if I haven't. I'm a big fan of Kafka. I'll mention him again in a second. And I'd like to dip into Shirley Jackson again. Again, I've read this, but it'd be nice to reread something from The Lottery and Other Stories as well, Shirley Jackson. And I'm also almost definitely going to try this one. So this is this has been described by Willow from Books and Bow as a Kafka-esque cyber horror story called Several People Are Typing. And I'm really looking forward to reading this. So it sounds intriguing, interesting, creepy, disturbing, and completely mad. Probably funny, I don't know. But I'm going to read this, see what I think of it. Again, it's not that long. So this is, what is it? Yeah, it's only just over 200 pages. So this fits for the prompt as well, itself. And then I might get to this. Mexican Govy, this has been raved about loads, and she's been raved about loads, but I haven't read anything by her yet. So I would like to get to that, but I might not. This would be nice, partly because it fits into the event that I'm doing, which is Spring Me a Melody, where you read books about songs and music in spring. And apparently music features quite heavily in this book. So I'd like to get to this, but again, it's a lot bigger than what the prompts suggest. These are all ideas. There's 3 more ideas I'm going to share with you. Dead Silence, there's science fiction horror. There's apparently amazing. I think this is relatively short. It is over 300 pages, but only just. It is quite short. So Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. Do want to get to that at some point. Bear in mind, I'm also doing a Historathon as well. But, Tender as the Flesh, I now have this. I found this really cheap in a charity shop. This is about cannibalism, and it is very horrific. But, again, relatively short. Again, it's just, what's this? Yeah, this is just over 200 pages, so this is very short. So another one that could be one I could read. And then one last mention of Paul Tremblay, Head Full of Ghosts. I might read The Cabinet at the End of the World, but I haven't read a Paul Tremblay book yet. And last time we did Horror Mayhem, I mentioned him. Still haven't read one of his. I think in my Halloween video, I mentioned him as well. I need to read Paul Tremblay stuff. So, there we go. Those are my options. I don't know if those are giving you some ideas, but I think Horror Mayhem is a great event. Last year I read my first Clive Barker book, and I read a bunch of other things as well. It was really cool. So let me know if you're getting involved, what you're reading, and what you think of the books I've mentioned. And happy reading. See you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.